Let's talk gold today then. Where does Frank Giustra see the metal now? Where does it go from here?
Daniela, pick a number. Seriously, I pick a number and I wouldn't disagree with you. I don't know, but it's going a lot higher. As I've said, you've got people still don't believe it. Most of the investing public still doesn't believe it. You have all of these trillions and trillions of dollars are sitting in bonds. Where's that money going to go when it starts to panic out of bonds? And a big chunk of what's in the stock market too, but mostly in the bond market. Where's it going to go? It's got to go to gold and other hard assets, commodities and hard assets. It's the 1970s all over again, except it's the 70s on steroids. And so I think that, and again, I've never predicted the gold price, but I do believe it's going a lot higher, and no actual number would surprise me. And I've heard people on your shows before talking, different numbers, and I go, pick a number. Anybody that predicts a gold price is a fool or a liar, because nobody really knows.
And that's probably one of your best quotes, Frank. But I think a lot of investors are looking at the gold price here saying, wow, it's way too high. How could I possibly get in here? Is it too late to be buying?
No, I'm still buying. Quite honestly, I still buy. And I believe, because I believe in what I'm seeing. I bought a long time ago, and my philosophy on gold is buy it, hold it, and forget about it. It's not something you should look at as a trade, an opportunity to make some money. It's your insurance. It's your insurance against everything going wrong. And I've been doing this for 20 years now, and I continue to buy it. And I think I feel comfortable enough to tell my family to buy it. I believe that if you don't own some gold in your portfolio, you're dumb. It's crazy not to. You have to own some. It's your insurance. I mean, think of it as like fire insurance for a house, except in this case, it's like having fire insurance on a meth lab. You really need to have it in this current environment.
So if you don't see gold as a day trade, Frank, what about silver? Is that the place to speculate?
Well, I love silver. I've always said silver will always track gold. Gold goes up, silver will go up. Gold goes down, silver will go down. Except silver investors are fanatics, and I see that in a really loving way. Okay, I think most of them are still upset about the Coinage Act of 1873 when the government demonetized silver. They're still angry about that, and they believe that silver is money. And it's mostly American investors, and they are fanatics. And so what does that mean? That means silver will occasionally outperform gold during this phase, as it did this year. I think silver was up 50% this year, and gold was 20-something%. So you will have moments in time during this next cycle where silver could possibly go through the roof relative to gold. But if gold ever corrects, silver will correct a lot more.
So Frank, do you feel comfortable with the statement that we are experiencing a gold tsunami?
Yes, absolutely. This is, as I told you last year, we were at the beginnings of the third phase of the gold market that started in 2001. First phase, 2001 to 2008. Second phase, 2009, 2011. Third phase started 18 months ago. And this is going to be the final and most, like I said, tsunami, most explosive phase that this market's ever seen.
How do you expose yourself to gold and silver? Are you in physical? Are you in the mining stocks?
It takes two different mindsets when you're looking at both of those categories. So let me go through it. Physical, why do you want to own physical gold? Because it is independent of the financial system. It has no counterparty risk. So that everything else in the financial markets, even gold ETFs, have counterparty risk. Okay, and you just have to read these GLD prospectus to get a sense of what risk that is. I mean, you have lots of different counterparties involved in the holding of that gold, and they have disclaimers in there about acts of God if you go for, if you're looking for delivery of that gold. So physical gold, independent of the system. So you want to own that, and again, hold it and forget about it. That's your insurance. Gold mining stocks is a whole different game, and that requires a lot more attention. And I always say you really, if you're new to this space, you really need to have professional advice, because there's a lot of junky promotions out there, and you have to be careful about those. So you have to know how to select your stocks, and have to understand why you're selecting certain stocks over others. And that takes, I'm a professional. I've been doing this for many, many years, so I know what I'm doing. But, an average investor should really make sure they're getting professional advice on this stuff.
And you're still liking the developers?
Yeah, I like two categories of gold mining stocks. One are the ones where, like what we built up over the years, Wheaton River Gold Corp, which is using M&A to create a gold producing company that has multiple mines. And we did it with Gold Corp, we did it with Endeavor Mining, and we did it with Leia Gold, which is now Equinox, which I still am a shareholder of. But the real bang for your money, and again, there's a level of risk you have to take on here, but the real bang for your money is to invest in a developer that has yet to go into production, because you will get a revaluation when it does go into production. And hopefully you also want to pick a developer that has the opportunity to increase its resource ounces. And so I look for those two things when I invest in gold mining stocks.
Can you give us an example of a developer you like right now and what you like about it?
Okay, well, I'll give you one that I've invested quite a bit of money in. It's called Caldas Gold. It's a gold mining operation in Colombia. What do I like about it? What I like about it is that it is a developer in a sense, in that it has small production. They've just raised about $240 million in various instruments to scale that production to about 200,000 ounces a year, which will happen over the next couple of years. So you're going to get the re-rating from it being a small producer, mostly a developer, to a significant producer. So that'll get a re-rating. Plus, they're drilling out an ore body that looks to be a lot bigger than anybody initially thought. And so they keep adding ounces to their resource calculation, and that will get a re-rating in the marketplace. So those are the two things that I look for. And there are others like that, but that happens to be one that I just happen to be invested in.
Frank, outside of the business world, and anyone that knows you personally knows you have an eclectic mix of passions and loves. So outside of mining, what are you focusing on right now?
Do you remember this? The best olive oil in the world. This is one of my passions is my olive oil. Domenica Fiore is the best olive oil in the world. We win almost every competition around the world. It dovetails nicely into my passion for food, which I've had my entire life. I have a magazine called Modern Farmer, which speaks to the food movement that's been taking place over the last 20 years. I love to cook. It's really and I've got this. I'm going to start this. I'm working on a project called the Frank's Kitchen Show, which I hope to launch soon. And because it's my hobby. So I love food. I love music. We have a music studio. We write music, write songs. I love science. I love physics, especially quantum physics. And we're working with a number of very well-known physicists to potentially create something new here in Vancouver that addresses the subject of quantum physics and gravity. Just anything that gets my attention that I want to learn about.
And you have your own garden, which is a wonderful thing. Do you think the pandemic has renewed interest in people harvesting their own vegetables, their own fruits, not relying on a supply chain?
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, my magazine, Modern Farmer Magazine, just launched a campaign a month or so ago called the Million Gardens Movement, and we're going to be working with a number of different players to create this movement. Because what we saw during the pandemic was a real interest in our articles about home gardening. And that interest spiked. So we thought that it would be a great way to bring people together and give them something in common to work on, much like the Victory Gardens during World War II. Gave everybody a common purpose to be united as a nation. And we've noticed that the interest in gardening cuts all political divides. It's red, blue, rural, urban. It's everybody's interest in gardening. And the idea is that we're going to motivate people to create their own gardens and then use that food to help local food banks or neighbors that are in need. So it's a wonderful movement, and I love it because I really believe in local vegetables and fruit. To me, that's, I don't buy, when I go to the grocery store, I don't buy anything unless I know where it comes from. And I certainly wouldn't go to a big chain supermarket and buy their chicken without knowing where that chicken was raised and how it was raised. That stuff just grosses me out. So I want to know where my food comes from, and I'm very, very keen on health and health issues. So yeah, no, it's a big passion of mine.
Thank you again, Frank. Thank you so much for being my guest today on Stansberry Research. And thank you for watching. We will have more great content for you. Be sure to follow us on all our social media channels on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Stansberry Research. For the Stansberry Research Show, I am Daniela Cambone.